Let me introduce you to Xenovenator espinosae. Their name means Espinosa's strange hunter, but they're not exactly a fan of that translation. I mean, yes, they did have an unusual skull, but it's not like you were named something that translates to has 3 nipples. That's right, Tyler knows animals and your dirty little secret. Anyway, what makes Xenovenator special, besides their funky-ass noggin, which we'll get to in a bit, is that they are one of only a handful of dinosaurs that have received a scientific name as recently as earlier this year. As such, today we will uncover all there is to know about 12 species of newly named dinosaurs, including a walking tank with the voice of an angelic Tweety bird, an oversized pincushion whose name asks a very important question, and of course, Xenovenator. However, to keep you watching and boost this video's view duration, we will actually be starting with the cleverly named Clever Girl Cancastralis. Named in a paper published on May 28, 2026, they were a raptor-like dinosaur that, much to the dismay of fans of Jurassic World, was likely feathered. Their long snout, tiny teeth, and long, flexible necks just they hunted like a modern heron wading into the water to catch fish. Now I know what you're wondering. No, I do not need to do vocal warm-ups to make my voice sound this sexy. But also the name Kank refers to a rhea, the cheap knockoff version of an ostrich, from the indigenous Patagonian mythology. Yes, Patagonia isn't just an overpriced clothing brand, it's a region of South America too, and that's exactly where Kank australis lived about 70 million years ago. Of course, far more dinosaur fossils than just those of a small pescatarian have been discovered in Patagonia. And on April 16th, a paper was published naming Beecherocosaurus. Alive about 157 million years ago, this herbivorous dinosaur belonged to the group of long-necked land whales known as sauropods, and like some sort of hybrid, some of their backbones resemble those of their close cousin Brachiosaurus, while others oddly showed similarities to Diplodocus. The British pronounce it better, fight me. Anyway, Beecherocosaurus measured 49 feet in length and weighed 22 US tons. For the rest of the world, that's about as big as the amount of freedom I feel by telling you that I refuse to convert to the metric system. It's approximately 15 meters and 20,000 kilograms respectively. Beecherocosaurus is the only giant dinosaur we'll see today, but it definitely was bigger than Kryptohadros. Named by science nerds Magyar and friends in a paper published on March 2nd, 2026, this duck-billed hadrosaur lived in Romania about 70 million years ago, at a time when Europe was a big archipelago not too dissimilar to the modern Caribbean, minus the fruity cocktails and Johnny Depp. Kryptohadros specifically lived on the ancient island of Hatsag. Ruled by giant death storks, it was one of the most dangerous islands of all time, along with the wahoo during the tourist season. As life-sustaining resources such as food, water, and Netflix access tend to be limited on islands, Kryptohadros was, to word it in a way that won't get me cancelled again, merely fun-sized. That said, some dinosaurs in this video were average size, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, but they're still worth mentioning because of their unique anatomy. Xenovenator, the dinosaur I've been playing hooky with, is a prime example of this. Named in a paper published on January 9th, 2026, this small feathered dinosaur had an unusually thickened domed skull. Why? Because apparently evolution thought, you know what this predator needs? A permanent self-inflicting concussion. Here's the thing. The skull of Xenovenator strongly resembled that of Pachycephalosaurus. You know, the one who looked like an old bald man and spent its entire life headbutting others? Well, Xenovenator may have been doing something equally as stupid. With other dinosaurs such as Doolysaurus, finding an intact skull even if it's in fragmented pieces is a lot harder. You see, before Doolysaurus was named, which occurred in a paper published on March 19th, 2026, no skull material from a South Korean dinosaur had ever been described by science nerds. The omnivore called the world's most dichotomous peninsula home somewhere between 113 and 97 million years ago. I'm aware that's a pretty big range, but hey, dating fossils is hard. I should know my ex-girlfriend was an ammonite. Anyway, the only known individual of Doolysaurus was a juvenile no larger than a turkey, and they were likely covered in a fuzzy coat of feathers. Also of note, the fossil was found with dozens of tiny stones called gastroliths that the baby swallowed before installing life. Gastroliths would have helped this tiny dinosaur grind up into just food. Of course, they weren't the only stone-swallowing dinosaur, and the aforementioned sauropods are known to have done so too. Speaking of sauropods, on May 14th, 2026, a paper was published naming Nagatitan. They were the largest dinosaur known from Southeast Asia, weighing roughly 30 US tons or 27 metric tons, or about as big as your mom. Nagatitan lived in Thailand some 113 million years ago, where they are known to have lived alongside many other fascinating dinosaurs in a semi-arid environment, including the tiny taco parrot Psittacosaurus and Dr. Seuss's favorite extinct animal, Siam raptor.